My wife's work mentor sent me wedding photos by mistake, except she was the bride and he was the groom. I received wedding photos of my wife at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Beautiful beach ceremony, sunset backdrop, tropical flowers, happy couple kissing. The problem? I wasn't the groom, her boss was, and the wedding had happened 3 days ago during what she'd told me was a leadership conference in Hawaii. Hey, Reddit, this is the story of how one misdirected text message revealed that my wife of 7 years had been living a complete double life, had secretly married her boss while telling him I was her ex-husband, and how I discovered I'd been unknowingly participating in bigamy. I'm Nathan, 34 years old, and what I'm about to tell you will make you question whether you actually know anything about the person sleeping next to you at night. You know that moment when your entire reality fractures? When something so impossible, so incomprehensible happens that your brain literally can't process it? When you stare at evidence of something that shouldn't be possible and your mind keeps trying to find alternative explanations? Because accepting the truth means accepting that nothing you believed was real. That's where this story goes. Let me start from the beginning, because to understand how my wife pulled off marrying another man while staying married to me, you need to understand what our marriage looked like and how masterfully she'd been manipulating both. I met Jessica 8 years ago when I was 26 and she was 24. I was working as an aerospace engineer at a defense contractor in Seattle, making about $95,000 a year. Jessica was working as a junior project manager at a tech company, making around $62,000. We met at a mutual friend's housewarming party, connected over shared interests in hiking and travel, and started dating within a month. Jessica was ambitious, driven, smart. She had clear career goals, wanted to make senior management by 35, eventually VP or C-suite. She talked about climbing the corporate ladder, about making strategic moves, about building the right network. I admired her ambition. I was more content with my engineering career. Good salary, interesting work, reasonable hours. We seemed to complement each other well. We dated for a year before moving in together. Jessica was laser focused on her career during this time, often working late, networking at industry events, taking professional development courses. I supported her completely. When she'd come home exhausted from a 12-hour day, I'd have dinner ready. When she needed to practice presentations, I'd be her audience. When she stressed about office politics, I'd listen and offer advice. At 2 years of dating, I proposed. Took her to the San Juan Islands where we'd had one of our first weekend trips together. She said yes enthusiastically. We got married 6 months later. Modest wedding, about 80 guests, nothing extravagant. Jessica wanted to save money for a house instead of spending on a big wedding. I'd rather invest in our future than one expensive party, she said. I agreed completely. The first few years of marriage were good. We both worked hard, saved aggressively, bought a 3-bedroom house in a decent neighborhood. No kids yet. We'd agreed to wait until we were more established in our careers and financially secure. Jessica was advancing steadily at her company, getting promoted to senior project manager at year 3 of our marriage, making $78,000. I'd been promoted to senior engineer, making $110,000. Combined income of $188,000. We were doing well. Jessica's hours increased with each promotion. More responsibility meant more time at the office, more after-hours calls, more weekend work. I understood. That's what advancement required. I picked up more of the household responsibilities: cooking, cleaning, yard work, home repairs. My hours were more predictable, so it made sense for me to handle more domestic tasks. But I started noticing we were spending less time together. Date nights became rare. Weekends were often interrupted by her work emergencies. Vacations were planned around her project deadlines. Our conversations increasingly focused on her career challenges rather than our relationship or shared experiences. When I'd bring this up, Jessica would get defensive. I'm working hard for our future, for the lifestyle we want. Don't you want me to be successful? Of course I do. I just miss spending time with you. We spend time together. We live together. We see each other every day. We see each other, but we're not really connecting. You're always on your laptop or phone. Even when you're physically here, you're mentally at work. That's what commitment looks like, Nathan. That's what it takes to advance in corporate environments. I thought you understood that. I'd back down, feel guilty for complaining, tell myself she was right. This was temporary. things would balance out once she reached whatever level she was aiming for. 4 years into our marriage, Jessica started talking about a new executive at her company, David. He'd been hired as VP of Strategic and was leading a major organizational transformation, was supposedly brilliant at corporate strategy. David asked me to join his transformation team, Jessica said excitedly one evening. He said he's been impressed with my work and thinks I have executive potential. This could be huge for my career. That's great. What would the role involve? More visibility, more strategic work, direct access to senior leadership. It's exactly the kind of opportunity I need to position myself for director level roles. And David, what's he like? Mid-40s, just got divorced, totally dedicated to work. He's known for mentoring high potential employees and pushing them into leadership positions. People who work with him tend to advance quickly. Sounds like a great mentor to have. He really is. I'm lucky he noticed my work. Over the next few months, David became a constant presence in Jessica's conversation. David thinks I should lead the client presentation. David invited me to the executive strategy retreat. David suggested I take this certification course. David said I'm ready for director-level responsibility. At first, I was happy for her. She'd found a mentor who recognized her potential. But gradually, I noticed the nature of her comments changing. David is taking me to this exclusive industry dinner, just the two of us and some potential clients. He says I need exposure to high-level relationship building. That sounds intimate. Is it appropriate for just you two to go? It's networking, Nathan. That's how business works at this level. Don't be insecure about my mentor investing in my career. I'm not insecure. I'm just noting that a lot of your work events seem to involve just you and Dave. Because he's mentoring me. That requires one-on-one time. God, you sound so jealous and controlling right now. I backed down again, told myself I was being unreasonable, that this was normal corporate mentorship, that my discomfort was my problem, but the mentorship intensified. Jessica started traveling more frequently. Leadership conference in San Francisco, strategy offsite, client meeting in Los Angeles, always with David. Sometimes other team members, but often just the two of them. Is David's wife okay with him traveling so much with a female employee? I asked once. He's divorced. I told you that. And it's not a female employee. It's a professional relationship. You're really showing your sexism here, Nathan. Would you question this if David was a woman? Probably, yeah. The amount of time you're spending with your mentor, male or female, seems excessive. You don't understand executive-level career development. This is how it works. If you're not supportive of my career, just say so. She made me the problem, made my legitimate concerns sound like jealousy or sexism or lack of support, and I, wanting to be a supportive husband, kept backing down. 5 years into our marriage, Jessica got promoted to Director of Strategic Programs. Salary jumped to $95,000. She was thrilled. David had apparently championed her for the role. He went to bat for me with the CEO, told them I was ready for director-level work. I owe him everything. That's great. I'm proud of you. Thanks. This means more travel, though, more visibility with senior leadership, more time investment. How much more? I don't know exactly. Whatever it takes. Our marriage became increasingly hollow. We were roommates who occasionally had surface-level conversation. Jessica was gone 12, 14 hours most days. Traveled 1-2 times per month, spent her home evenings on her laptop responding to emails, preparing presentations. Our sex life dwindled to maybe once a month, and when it happened, Jessica seemed distracted, going through the motions. I tried to talk about it. I feel like we're losing each other, like you're married to your job, and I'm just the guy who maintains the house. That's not fair. I'm working hard for us, for our future. What future? We never see each other. We don't do anything together. We don't even talk beyond logistics about whose turn it is to buy groceries. What do you want me to do? Quit my job? Give up on my career goals? Is that what would make you happy? No, I want you to find some balance. I want us to prioritize our marriage, not just your career. I can't believe you're making me choose between my career and our marriage. That's incredibly manipulative. Again, she'd flipped it. Made my plea for connection sound like unreasonable demands, made me feel guilty for wanting time with my wife. 6 months ago, Jessica's travel increased even more. Big project that David and I are leading requires a lot of site visits to our regional offices. How long will this project last? 6 to 9 months, probably. That's a long time to be traveling constantly. It's career-defining work, Nathan. David says if we pull this off, I'll be positioned for VP consideration. VP? That's great, but what? You don't want me to succeed? I want us to succeed as a couple, and I feel like we're failing at that while you're succeeding at work. Maybe the problem is you're not succeeding enough at work. I'm advancing, you're stagnant. Maybe you resent my success because you're not experiencing your own. That hurt. I was good at my job, made good money, but I wasn't gunning for executive positions. I was content with being an excellent engineer. Jessica was reframing that contentment as failure, as something to be resented. I suggested marriage counseling. She refused. We don't need therapy. We need you to be more supportive of my career and less clingy about time together. 3 months ago, Jessica started acting differently. She was on her phone constantly, texting and smiling in ways I rarely saw directed at me. She'd step out of the room to take calls. She'd angle her phone away when I was nearby. Who are you texting? Work stuff. At 10 p.m. on a Saturday? Global team, different time zones. Can I see? Her face hardened. No, you can't see my work messages. That's confidential company information. And frankly, asking to see my phone is a huge breach of trust. Do you not trust me? I don't know anymore, Jessica. Something feels off. You're distant, secretive, always on your phone. You're being paranoid and controlled. This is not okay, Nathan. I won't be treated like I'm doing something wrong just because I'm dedicated to my career. I backed down. Again, always backing down, always accepting her reframing, always feeling like maybe I was the problem. 2 months ago, Jessica announced a major trip. There's a week-long leadership conference in Hawaii. David had selected me to attend from our division. It's a huge honor. Only directors and above typically get invited. A week in Hawaii? It's an intensive leadership development program. Long days, lots of networking, evening sessions. It's not a vacation. Can spouses come? No, it's a professional conference, not a couples retreat. Why would spouses come? I don't know, maybe to enjoy Hawaii together? We haven't had a vacation in over a year. This isn't a vacation. This is career development. We can take a vacation after. We've been saying after for years. After this project, after this promotion, after this conference, there's always something. Because that's what building a successful career requires. Not everyone is content being a mid-level engineer their whole life. The digs were getting more pointed, more hurtful. Jessica was increasingly contemptuous of my career contentment, my desire for work-life balance, my requests for time together. 3 weeks ago, Jessica left for Hawaii. The morning she left, she seemed excited but also nervous. You okay? I asked as I helped her load luggage into her Uber. Fine. Just nervous about the conference, want to make a good impression. You'll be great, you always are. She kissed me quickly, a perfunctory peck. I'll text you when I land. She did text when she landed. Brief message. Made it. Hotel is nice. Conference starts tomorrow morning. Over the week she was gone, I texted her daily. How's it going? What sessions did you attend today? Did you have any free time to enjoy the beach? Her responses were sparse, delayed, vague. Busy day. Good sessions? No beach time, all work. I tried calling twice. Both times, she texted back instead of answering, in sessions, can't talk. We'll call tonight. She never called. By the end of the week, I was convinced something was wrong. Not sure what exactly, but her distance felt extreme even for her. She returned home late Tuesday night. I was already in bed, but woke when I heard her come in. She went straight to the shower without coming to say hello. When she finally came to bed, I tried to hug her. She tensed. I'm exhausted. Can we talk tomorrow? I just want to know how it went. I've barely heard from you all week. It was fine, intense. I'm really tired. She turned away from me and apparently fell asleep within minutes. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling more disconnected from my wife than ever before. Around 11 p.m., my phone buzzed on the nightstand. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me check. A text message with a photo attached. I opened it. A wedding photo. Beach ceremony. Sunset. Tropical setting. Beautiful bride in a white dress. Handsome groom in a suit. Both smiling at the camera with that specific joy of newlyweds. I stared at the image, confused. Who sent me a random wedding photo? Then I looked closer. Zoomed in. My stomach dropped. The bride was Jessica. My wife Jessica, in a wedding dress I'd never seen, at a ceremony I'd never attended, marrying a man who wasn't me. I zoomed in on the groom, recognized him from the 2 times I'd met him at Jessica's company events. David, her boss, her mentor, the man she'd been spending increasingly more time with over the past 2 years. The text below the photo read, "Congrats again, you two. Best wedding ever. So happy for you both. Melissa." My hands were shaking. This had to be a mistake. Some kind of Photoshop joke. Something. Another buzz. Same number. Oh shit, wrong number. So sorry. Meant to send to Jessica. A third buzz. Please don't tell her I sent this by accident. I stared at my phone, then at my wife sleeping peacefully next to me, then back at the photo. My wife, my married wife of 7 years, had apparently gotten married to her boss in Hawaii 3 days ago. The leadership conference was a wedding, her wedding, to another man, while still married to me. Another buzz, different unknown number, another photo, same wedding, different angle. Jessica and David cutting a cake. Text, can't believe how beautiful the ceremony was. You guys are perfect together. Then another number, another photo, Jessica and David dancing. Best destination wedding I've ever attended. My phone kept buzzing. More numbers, more photos, more people from what was apparently Jessica's work circle, all sending wedding photos to what they thought was Jessica's number, but was actually 1 digit off, my number. I got up, walked to the bathroom, locked the door, started scrolling through the photos with shaking hands. The wedding was elaborate, maybe 40, 50 guests, all dressed for a beach ceremony. Professional photographer, beautiful decorations, sunset ceremony, reception dinner. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment elopement. This was planned, organized, expensive. In every photo, Jessica looked radiantly happy, happier than I'd seen her in years. Certainly happier than she'd looked at our wedding 7 years ago. I found photos of her with bridesmaids, co-workers I recognized from her company parties, photos of David with groomsmen, photos of them doing traditional wedding activities, first dance, cake cutting, toasts. Someone had posted a video. I clicked it, could hear the audio. A woman giving a toast. When Jessica told me she was finally divorced and free to be with David, I was so happy for her. She and Nathan had been over for years, and she deserves to be with someone who truly appreciates her ambition and drive. David, you're getting an incredible woman. Jessica, you're getting your perfect match. I replayed that section. Finally divorced. She and Nathan had been over for years. Jessica had told people we were divorced, told her co-workers, her friends, the people at this wedding. She'd told them all that she was divorced from me, but we weren't divorced. We were very much married. I had a marriage certificate in our file cabinet to prove it, which meant this wedding, this beautiful, elaborate beach wedding where my wife married her boss, was illegal. This was bigamy. My wife had committed bigamy. I sat on the bathroom floor, phone in hand, scrolling through photo after photo of my wife's secret wedding, and my brain couldn't process it. How long had she been planning this? How had she hidden it so completely? How many lies had she told? How many people were in on it? And David, did he know? Did he know Jessica was still married to me, or had she lied to him too? Convinced him she was divorced, made herself available by pretending her marriage to me didn't exist? I looked at the photos again. David looked genuinely happy, in love, not like a man knowingly participating in bigamy. He looked like a man marrying the woman he loved, who he believed was free to marry. Jessica had lied to everyone. To me, telling me she was at a work conference. To David and her co-workers, telling them she was divorced. To wedding guests, creating an entire false narrative where I was her ex-husband instead of her current husband. She'd maintained 2 completely separate realities, and she'd done it so seamlessly that neither David nor I had suspected the truth. I heard movement in the bedroom. Jessica was up. Nathan, you in there? I couldn't respond, couldn't face her. Not yet. Not until I figured out what this meant and what I was going to do. Nathan, you okay? I finally managed, yeah, stomach issues. Must have been something I ate. Go back to sleep. Okay, feel better. I heard her get back into bed. Our bed. The bed she shared with me, her actual legal husband, 3 days after marrying someone else. I looked at the wedding photos again. Looked at her smiling face, her white dress, her hand in David's hand as they said vows that were legally meaningless because she was already married. My wife was a bigamist. She'd married her boss while still married to me. She'd constructed 2 entirely separate lives, one with me in Seattle, one with David at work, and had been maintaining both with such skill that neither of us had fully understood what was happening. And now I knew. I had the evidence right here on my phone, photos, videos, texts from wedding guests, all documenting Jessica's illegal second marriage. I sat on that bathroom floor until sunrise, scrolling through the evidence, my mind alternating between shock, rage, devastation, and cold calculation. By the time light crept through the bathroom window, I'd made a decision. I wasn't going to confront Jessica emotionally. I wasn't going to give her a chance to gaslight me, manipulate me, make me question what I was seeing. I was going to document everything, consult with professionals, understand the legal implications, and then handle this strategically. Jessica thought she could manage two husbands, two lives, two completely separate realities. She was about to learn that bigamy isn't just morally wrong, it's criminal. And I was going to make sure she faced every consequence she'd earned. I spent that entire Wednesday pretending everything was normal. Got up, showered, made coffee. Jessica came downstairs looking refreshed, like she'd just returned from a productive business trip rather than from marrying another man. "Sleep well?" she asked, pouring herself coffee. "Not really. That stomach thing kept me up. You should see a doctor if it continues." The ease with which she lied was stunning. No guilt in her expression, no nervousness, just casual morning conversation with her husband 3 days after marrying someone else. "How was the conference?" I asked, watching her face carefully. "Exhausting but good. Really intensive leadership development. I learned a lot." "Did David attend too?" Slight pause, barely noticeable. "Yeah, he was there. He's the one who selected me to go." "That was nice of him. He's a great mentor. Really invested in my development." I wanted to scream, wanted to throw my phone on the table and watch her face as she saw the wedding photos, but I maintained control, smiled, nodded, let her continue living in her delusion that I didn't know. After she left for work, I called in sick, told my manager I had a family emergency and needed a few days. Then I got to work. First, I backed up everything. Screenshots of every wedding photo, every text message from the video of the toast mentioning her divorce from me. I uploaded everything to 3 different cloud storage accounts, emailed the files to myself at multiple addresses, and saved copies on 2 separate USB drives. Whatever happened next, this evidence needed to be preserved and protected. Next, I started investigating, opened Jessica's laptop. She'd left it at home, probably felt safe doing so since I'd never snooped before. Her password was the same as always. I accessed her email. What I found made the wedding seem almost minor by comparison. Email threads with David going back 18 months. Not just professional correspondence, love letters, plans for their future together, discussions about when she'd be free and after the divorce is final. David thought Jessica was getting divorced. She'd been telling him for over a year that she was ending her marriage to me. It was just a matter of timing and logistics, that she'd already mentally moved on. I found an email from 8 months ago. "I can't wait until we can be together openly. I know divorcing Nathan is complicated, but once it's done, we can finally build our life together. I love you so much, and I'm willing to wait as long as it takes." Jessica's response: "I love you too. The divorce is moving slowly. Nathan's being difficult about the settlement, but I'm handling it. Soon we'll be free to be together without hiding. Just a few more months, I promise." She'd been promising David for months that she was divorcing me, but she'd never filed, never even mentioned divorce to me. She'd constructed an entire false timeline for David while maintaining our marriage. I kept digging, found a separate email account I didn't know she had, under a slightly different name, Jessica Morrison instead of Jessica Morrison Cooper, my last name. Under this identity, she'd been communicating with wedding planners, caterers, photographers for the Hawaii wedding. Receipts showed she'd spent $38,000 on that wedding. I checked our joint bank account. Our savings had decreased by that amount over the past 6 months. She'd been using our joint money to fund her wedding to another man. I found more financial documents. Jessica had opened separate bank accounts under her Morrison name, had been funneling money from our joint account into these secret accounts. Over the past 2 years, she'd hidden approximately $85,000 of what should have been marital assets. She wasn't just committing bigamy, she was committing financial fraud, stealing from our marriage to fund her secret life with David. I documented everything, every email, every receipt, every bank statement. The picture that emerged was devastating. Jessica had been systematically planning her exit from our marriage while maintaining the facade, stealing money, constructing a second identity, and manipulating David into believing she was available. By Wednesday evening, when Jessica came home, I had a complete picture of her deception, and I had a plan. Thursday morning, I called a criminal defense attorney specializing in bigamy cases. His name was Robert Chen, came highly recommended from internet research. "Mr. Cooper, what you're describing is indeed bigamy, which is a felony in Washington state. Your wife's marriage to David is legally void since she was already married to you. But she can be prosecuted for attempting bigamy, which carries potential jail time and fines. What about David? Is he in trouble? That depends. If he genuinely believed Jessica was divorced, which the emails suggest he did, then he's a victim too, not a perpetrator. However, their marriage is still void. What should I do? Document everything. File for divorce immediately. Report the bigamy to authorities. The criminal case will proceed separately from the divorce, but both need to happen. Will this affect the divorce settlement? Absolutely. Bigamy and financial fraud, the hidden accounts you mentioned, will heavily favor you in asset division. She's unlikely to receive any spousal support given her illegal activity. If you want custody of any children, we don't have children. Then the divorce should be relatively straightforward. She gets nothing. You keep everything. Split happens quickly. What about her job? That's between her and her employer. But if she conducted this affair with her direct supervisor and used company resources or time for wedding planning, HR would likely be very interested. I hired Chen on the spot. Paid. His $10,000 retainer with money from my separate account that Jessica didn't have access to. Thursday afternoon, Chen filed divorce papers. Grounds, big and financial fraud. Attached evidence, wedding photos, emails between Jessica and David, financial records showing her hidden accounts. But we didn't serve her yet. Chen had a better idea. Let's coordinate with her HR department and law enforcement. Serve her at work, in front of David and her colleagues. Make it impossible for her to control the narrative or manipulate anyone. She's been living two lives. Let both lives collide publicly. Won't that be seen as vindictive? You're not doing anything vindictive. You're simply reporting crimes, bigamy, and financial fraud to the appropriate authorities. If that happens to occur at her workplace where her accomplice also works, that's just efficient. I contacted Jessica's company, asked to speak with the chief HR officer, explained that I was Jessica Morrison Cooper's husband, that she'd committed bigamy by marrying her supervisor David while still married to me, and that I had documentation proving it. The CHO, a woman named Patricia, was stunned. Mr. Cooper, these are extremely serious allegations. I have wedding photos. I have emails between them. I have documentation of our marriage certificate. This isn't an allegation. It's a documented fact. Can you send me what you have? I sent everything. Within 2 hours, Patricia called back. Mr. Cooper, we take ethics violations extremely seriously. An executive having an affair with a direct report is a fireable offense. Bigamy takes it to another level entirely. We'd like to address this Monday morning if possible. Would you be available to come to our office with your attorney? Yes. What are you planning? We'll be terminating both Jessica and David's employment immediately. We'll also be cooperating with any criminal investigation. This is unconscionable behavior. Next, I contacted the police, filed a report for bigamy and financial fraud. Detective Martinez took my statement, reviewed the evidence. This is pretty clear-cut. We'll need to interview your wife and David. Can you come to the station Monday morning? We'll pick them both up from her workplace if her HR is on board. They are. It's all coordinated for Monday at 9 a.m. Everything was set. Monday morning, Jessica's two worlds would collide catastrophically. I spent the weekend acting normal. Jessica had no idea what was coming. She went about her life, went to the gym Saturday, had brunch with friends and probably co-workers who'd attended her wedding, worked from home Sunday. I watched her with cold detachment. This woman I'd loved for 8 years, who I'd supported through career challenges, who I'd built a life with, she was a complete stranger. Everything I thought I knew about her was a lie. Sunday night, she went to bed early. Big week at work, she said. Important project David and I are launching. Good luck with that, I said. She fell asleep quickly. I stayed up reviewing my evidence one more time, making sure everything was organized and ready. Monday morning, Jessica left for work at 7:30 a.m., told me she'd probably be late coming home due to project meetings. No problem, I said. I'll see you when you get back. She kissed me on the cheek. A habit, nothing more. Then she left. At 8:45 a.m., I arrived at Jessica's company with Robert Chen. Detective Martinez was already there with another officer. Patricia, the CHO, met us in the lobby with 2 other HR personnel and the company's legal counsel. Mr. Cooper, thank you for coming. We've asked both Jessica and David to come to the main conference room at 9 a.m. for what they think is a project meeting. They have no idea you'll be here. Perfect. We went to the conference room, large space with a long table. Patricia, the legal counsel, and HR sat on one side. Detective Martinez and the other officer stood by the door. Chen and I sat at the far end. At 9:02 a.m., Jessica walked in. She was laughing about something, looking at her phone. When she looked up and saw me, the color drained from her face. Nathan, what? Why are you here? Before I could answer, David walked in behind her, saw me, looked confused. Jessica, who's this? This is my husband, I said calmly. Nathan Cooper. We've met before at company events, David. I'm the aerospace engineer. David looked at Jessica. Your ex-husband, you mean? No, I said. Her current husband. We're still very much married. Have been for 7 years. Jessica's eyes went wide with panic. David looked like he'd been punched. Jessica, David said slowly. What is he talking about? You said you were divorced. I can explain. Detective Martinez stepped forward. Jessica Morrison Cooper. I'm Detective Martinez with Seattle PD. We need to discuss some serious allegations. You too, Mr. Hayes. Patricia spoke up. Jessica, David, please sit down. We have some matters to address regarding your conduct and your relationship. Jessica was shaking. David looked completely lost. I pulled out my phone, connected it to the conference room screen. The wedding photos appeared. Beach ceremony, sunset, Jessica in a white dress marrying David. That's from last Tuesday, I said. While you were at what you told me was a leadership conference in Hawaii? Turns out it was actually your wedding to David. David stared at the photos. Jessica, you said you were divorced. The problem, Chen interjected, is that Jessica was and is still legally married to Mr. Cooper, which makes her marriage to you, Mr. Hayes, void and makes Jessica guilty of attempted bigamy, which is a felony in Washington state. Jessica started crying. Nathan, please, I can explain. I was going to tell you. Tell me what? That you've been planning to marry your boss for over a year? That you've been stealing from our joint account to fund your wedding to him? That you've told everyone at work we're divorced when we're absolutely not? I played more evidence. The emails between her and David, the hidden bank accounts, the receipts for the wedding using our joint money. David looked sick. Jessica, you told me Nathan was your ex. You said the divorce was final months ago. You said his voice broke. I thought we were building a life together. I thought you were free. I am free. I want to be with you. I was going to divorce Nathan. I just never got around to it, I finished, while spending $38,000 of our joint on your wedding to another man, while hiding $85,000 in separate accounts, while committing bigamy. Patricia took over. Jessica, David, based on the evidence Mr. Cooper has provided, we're terminating both of your employment effective immediately. Jessica, your actions constitute gross ethics violations. Conducting an affair with your direct supervisor, using company resources to coordinate personal matters, and committing felony bigamy. David, as an executive, you're held to higher standards. Your relationship with a direct report violates our ethics policy, regardless of whether you knew about her marriage status. David's face went red. I didn't know. I swear I had no idea she was still married. We believe that, Patricia said, but the relationship itself is still a violation. Security will escort you both out within the hour. You'll receive termination letters and information about Cobra Insurance. Detective Martinez handed Jess a document. Mrs. Cooper, this is a criminal complaint for attempted bigamy and financial fraud. You'll need to appear before a judge. You have the right to an attorney. Then Chen handed her another document. And these are divorce papers. Mr. Cooper is divorcing you on grounds of bigamy and financial fraud. The hearing is scheduled for 2 weeks from today. Jessica looked at me, mascara running down her face. Nathan, please don't do this. I love you. I made a mistake. We can work through this. You don't love me. You never did. You love what I provided. Stability, financial support, a backup plan while you pursued your career and your affair. But I'm not your backup plan anymore. I'm done. David stood up abruptly. Jessica, were we ever real? Or was I just another part of whatever game you've been playing? David, I love you. I do. I got scared. I didn't know how to leave Nathan. He's been so dependent on me. Dependent? I laughed bitterly. I've been supporting you, doing all the housework while you worked late, funding your lifestyle, and apparently funding your wedding to another man. But sure, I was the dependent one. Security arrived. Ms. Morris and Mr. Hayes, we need to escort you out now. As they led Jessica away, she kept looking back at me. Nathan, please, we can fix this. Don't throw away 7 years. You threw them away when you married someone else, I said. David was led out separately. He looked devastated. At the door, he turned to me. I'm sorry. I genuinely had no idea she was married. If I'd known, I never would have. I believe you, I said. You were manipulated too. She lied to both of us. After they left, Patricia looked at me sympathetically. Mr. Cooper, I'm sorry you've had to go through this. For what it's worth, Jessica was a talented employee, but character matters more than competence. We appreciate you bringing this to our attention. Thank you, and thank you for taking this seriously. Chen and I left the building. In the parking lot, he shook my hand. That went perfectly. Jessica has no defense. The criminal case is solid, and the divorce will be straightforward. You should have this resolved within 3 to 4 months. What's likely to happen to her? Criminally? Probably probation, fines, community service. First offense, no prior record. She'll likely avoid jail time, but have a felony conviction. Professionally, she's finished. Fired for cause, reputation destroyed, will struggle to find employment at her level. Personally, divorced, publicly humiliated, lost both her husband and her boyfriend in one day. And David, he's collateral damage. Fired for ethics violations, but no criminal charges since he genuinely didn't know about her marriage. He'll recover professionally, but his personal life took a hit. Over the next 3 months, everything played out exactly as Chen predicted. Jessica pleaded guilty to attempted bigamy and financial fraud, received 2 years probation, $25,000 in fines, 200 hours community service, and a felony record. The divorce was uncontested once Jessica's attorney saw the evidence. I kept the house, all marital assets, and my separate accounts. Jessica got nothing. No spousal support, no split of assets, nothing. The prenup Chen drafted in light of her crimes left her with literally nothing except what she'd earned during the marriage, minus what she'd stolen. Her hidden $85,000 was recovered and split as marital assets, meaning I got half of the money she'd stolen from me. The other half went to paying her legal fee. Jessica's reputation was destroyed. News of the bigamy case made local papers. Her LinkedIn was flooded with comments. She couldn't find work in her field. No company wanted someone with a felony conviction for fraud and bigamy, especially someone fired from their previous role for ethics violations. David relocated to another state, heard through mutual acquaintances that he was traumatized by the whole thing, felt betrayed and manipulated, struggled to trust anyone afterward. 6 months after that Monday confrontation, I was picking up the pieces of my life. The divorce was final, the house was mine. I'd started therapy to process the betrayal and rebuild my ability to trust. My therapist, Dr. Stevens, helped me understand what had happened. Jessica is likely a narcissist or has antisocial tendencies. The level of manipulation required to maintain 2 separate lives, 2 separate relationships without guilt or remorse, that's not normal behavior. Most people couldn't sustain that level of deception. So I was just unlucky, married to someone with a personality disorder? Possibly. Or she developed these traits over time. Sometimes career ambition combined with emotional immaturity creates people who see relationships as transactional rather than emotional. You weren't a husband to her, you were a safety net while she pursued what she really wanted. 1 year after discovering the wedding photos, I was 35 and single, living alone in my house, advancing in my career, slowly rebuilding my social life, starting to date cautiously, met a woman named Elena through friends. She was a doctor, driven but balanced, understood career ambition, but also valued personal relationships. When I told her about Jessica on our 3rd date, her response was perfect. That's horrific. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I promise I'm exactly who I present myself to be. No secret marriages, no double lives. 2 years later, I proposed to Elena. We got married in a small ceremony with close friends and family. Before the wedding, we did premarital counseling, discussed expectations, established complete financial transparency, and committed to prioritizing our relationship alongside our careers. 3 years after the wedding photo incident, I ran into Jessica at a grocery store. She looked tired, older than her years, working as a retail manager apparently, the only job she could get with a felony record. "Nathan," she said quietly, "how are you?" "I'm good. Married, happy, moved on." "I'm glad. You deserve that." She paused. "I'm sorry for everything. I don't know what I was thinking. I destroyed everything. You, David, my career. For what? I don't even know. You were thinking about yourself, only yourself. And you didn't consider the consequences until they hit. I know. I've been in therapy, trying to understand why I did it, trying to become someone better. I hope that works out for you, but I can't be part of that journey." "I understand. Take care, Nate." "You too." 5 years after that Tuesday night when I received wedding photos by mistake, I'm 39, happily married to Elena. We have a daughter. I'm a principal engineer at my company. Life is stable, honest, transparent. Sometimes I think about that moment when I first saw the photo of Jessica in a wedding dress, marrying someone else. The shock, the disbelief, the feeling that my entire reality had shattered. But that moment also revealed the truth. Jessica had been living a lie our entire marriage, presenting herself as a devoted wife while actually being someone capable of extraordinary deception. The wedding wasn't the betrayal. It was simply the visible evidence of a betrayal that had been ongoing for years, and discovering it, as shocking and painful as it was, saved me from wasting more years with someone who saw me as a convenience rather than a partner. The misdirected text message was the best worst thing that ever happened to me. It destroyed my marriage but freed me to find a real one. It exposed Jessica's crimes but protected me from years of continued manipulation. 7 years later, Jessica still faces the consequences of her choices. Felony record, destroyed career, reputation that follows her everywhere. She married David in Hawaii, thinking she could have everything. Her stable husband at home, her ambitious career, her exciting boss as her second husband. Instead, she lost everything and learned that you can't maintain two lives indefinitely. Eventually, accidentally, the truth emerges, sometimes through a wedding photo sent to the wrong number by a well-meaning coworker. And when that truth emerges, the life built on lies collapses completely.